you see me in the street and come up to me and say, Simon Miller, ye of WhatCulture Wrestling, I don't really think the WWE cares about pay-per-views anymore, I will look you dead in the eye and go, yeah, I think you're right, because here we are mere hours away from Hell in a Cell 2020, and we only know 4 bouts. 4, and I get it when SmackDown rolls around, I'm recording it before that, we'll know a bunch more, but that's only a day before the show. And it's all because WWE now makes all the money from Raw or SmackDown or television. I regret doing the money hands. But that doesn't mean that we can't put our thinking caps on and not only predict the 4 matches that we do know, but also predict what other fights we're going to see. And I've come up with a very smart system for that, so it's something for you to look forward to. But as for now, let's predict Hell in the Cell 2020. We'll start with Elias versus Jeff Hardy, I suppose, because the other 3 matches are Hell in the Cell structure matches and are a little bit more important, especially because the former Drifter only came back recently and he looked at Jeff Hardy and went, "You ran me over in a car," even though everyone else was like, "No, he didn't, Elias, we've sorted it out." He didn't care. So now they're going to have a fight. Given that Hardy got the upper hand on Raw when he pretended to be one of Elias's guitarists and then beat him up, you have to assume that Elias is going to win. Also, how much is it going to suck for that guy, for that character, if he's been away for like 67 years, he returns and then he just loses. Also, you just know that WWE is going to turn this into a major program that probably goes 1, 2, 3 months, which means Elias wins here, then Jeff Hardy wins at Survivor Series. Maybe you even stretch out to the Royal Rumble. And yeah, Elias will cheat probably, he'll put his foot on the ropes, or when the referee's distracted by a moth, he'll smash him with his own guitar. You know how this goes, it's just standard stuff. Probably be knocked to the pre-show, which makes no sense right now, because again, we only have 4 matches. Either way, I'm not going to back Hardy, I am going to put my thoughts and feelings behind Elias. And this is one of these ones that if I'm right, great. If I'm not great. I haven't even had time to invest. I'm already having a pay-per-view. Right, on to the big guns, Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton for the WWE title. Now, if you would ask me before the recent draft, what did I think was going to happen? I would say I think the Viper is going to win that championship, and now that AJ Styles has been moved across to Monday nights, I think you've got to stop that. I think you've got to double down on Drew being the guy, and then yeah, I think you've got to do the Scottish Psychopath taking on the Phenomenal One. I have wanted to see that for ages. It also gives something new for McIntyre to do, so it will feel fresh and it will feel exciting, especially because AJ's got his new friend now, you know, that really tall glass of water. We don't call him Bodyguard, because I watched an interview with AJ Styles the other day, and he said, he ain't no bodyguard, man. He's my friend, he's my buddy, he's my pal. So now it's AJ Styles and his really tall buddy pal friend. He even said they may go after the tag team titles and think of that, but before we do get there, I want to see him in a world title program against Drew McIntyre. I just do, even more so, because now I've fantasy booked what you can do with Randy Orton too, because who else has now turned up on Raw? That's right, it's Bray Wyatt. And who does he have a past with? That's right, the Viper, Randy Orton. All of Wyatt's feuds are better when he can relate it to things that have happened before. And don't forget, Randy burned down his shack or his shed, whatever the hell that thing was, but you could tie this in. Again, you can do something new with it, because you've got Alexa Bliss. I think that sounds quite interesting. And as much as I don't want to see it, I can even envision a scenario where Bray Wyatt actually pops up in the Hell in a Cell like, whoa, voodoo, attacks Randy Orton, and that allows Drew McIntyre to retain. Don't pretend we haven't done this before. Remember when Dean Ambrose was having a lovely little Hell in a Cell cage match, and then who became like a hologram? That's right, it was the Eater of Worlds, Bray Wyatt. Orton will just win now, but that's not the end of the world, but I'm going for Drew McIntyre, and maybe Bray Wyatt once again being involved in a segment that kind of destroys the whole point of the Hell in a Cell. You know, it's meant to keep people out. Still, you go Drew, I support you. The carnage continues as we're also going to have Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso for the Universal Championship in a match where I'm worried that Jey Uso may die. I mean, did you see the look in Roman Reigns' eyes the other day on SmackDown? He is not a happy pup, because his cuz wouldn't call him the tribal chief. As always, Roman, if you are watching, oh, you are my tribal chief. See, I bow down to you. I got no problem saying it. Please don't punch me in the face. Now, the problem with the Blue brand is that it is going on later today, and I'm filming this earlier in the day because that's just how the working week works. And he has already said, or WWE has advertised, that Reigns is going to explain what the fallout of all of this is going to be when he does indeed whip Jey Uso's ass. So I'm going to predict and guess that too. I think he's going to go, when I do beat you, I do pin you, I do make you submit, you've got to come into my clan, That's what Roman's going to start doing. He's going to start having a group of people who all worship the ground he walks on. Probably going to be a little bit messy too, because not only do you have the Hell in a Cell, but you also have the I Quit stipulation. That's just like stipulation smashing you in the face. But this feud has been so good since the start. The chemistry between these two is on fire. I think it's going to be Fabu. Roman Reigns is also going to win. There's no way that Jey Uso is going to win. As always, if he does, I will do something crazy because I'm so confident with this. So if Jey Uso wins the Universal title on Sunday night at Hell in a Cell, I will shave my head. What a bald asshole. The last part of the puzzle, though, is simply how do you get Jey out of this without reducing his persona a little bit? Because there is something that does suck about having to say, I quit. I mean, he wouldn't call Roman the tribal chief, so why would he say this? But that's where the excitement lies. Honestly, you can plug me in. I want to see it. Regardless, expect death and expect a Roman Reigns win. And then, yeah, maybe the start of a brand new stable. Makes me feel all doubly wobbly. And we do leave the best till last, which is Sasha Banks taking on Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And while I don't think it is going to main event, I would like it to main event, hence why I am talking about it now. I mean, the program technically has been going on for around about 7 years. You could actually plot it back that far, should you so wish. And if you're a wrestling nerd like me. The whole thing is also bizarre because the first proper match they're having, I don't count that shenanigan fest they have on SmackDown, is in the Hell in a Cell, which once again is the complete opposite of what the structure is there for. It's supposed to be the culmination of a program because people keep running in or there's interference and then you stop them. But WWE doesn't do things like that anymore. They just look down at their calendar and go, it's Hell in a Cell in October. Who wants to be in one? I guess these two went, we'll do it. And Vince went, great. Logic would state that Bayley wins here because if Sasha does, you kind of end all of this because she'll got her revenge. She would have ended Bayley's long championship run and now she will have the title over the shoulder. So you can continue on with it, I suppose. It's not going to be as fun as Banks having to chase on and on and on and on. Once again, though, we run into a serious war. How the hell do you get out of this without having a definitive winner? So you have to come up with a way to not only make this different from the other Hell in a Cell matches that we're going to see, but also leave a seed of doubt in my mind where I go, well, I understand that somebody was victorious, but I need to see it again. That's no easy task. That's why I left the WWE writing team a few years ago. So really, we need a Gaga ending, and who's better than that than World Wrestling Entertainment? So I think all of this is going to be fine. Also, it can't be worse than what we did in 2019. Remember that? Bray Wyatt, Seth Rollins, and giant sledgehammers and toolboxes. Let's move on. I don't want to think about it. But I'm putting my money behind Bayley because that just makes more sense. And then from nowhere, I'm calling a Hail Mary because maybe you end it in a draw. Or more to the point, maybe you do one of those things where both women are just so destroyed, they collapse on the floor. But Bayley collapses on top of Sasha, and the ref's like, well, technically, that's a pin, even though in no other world would it be. He goes 1, 2, 3, and Bayley wins, and Sasha loses, but really, nobody did. And if you want an example of this, just go back to the early 2000s when we had the 3 stages of hell between Triple H and Steve Austin. They did it there. You know what? Wasn't half bad. In fact, now I have said that, that is what's going to happen. That's my prediction. I'm going all in with this, and when I'm right, I will gloat. When I'm wrong, I'll just shy away and hide underneath rocks. And as for the rest of the card, now we could stand here and come up with some educated guesses, but I thought I'd rather do something a bit more inventive, a bit more crazy, or basically copy what I'm pretty sure WWE actually does. So I've got this hat. All the names are in here of people that could be on the show, and we're just gonna pull them out one by one, and whoever we get is gonna face each other. So the first match that we're gonna get on Hell in a Cell that we don't know about is Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, and they are going to be taken on, hang on, give me a second, they're gonna be Asuka and Lana. That's pretty good. Actually kind of makes sense. And we're also gonna get quick speed up, Titus O'Neil versus Cedric Alexander. Well, that ties into Raw 2. Gonna get Daniel Bryan versus Seth Rollins. Well, that'd be good too. I mean, you shouldn't rush it, but hey, I'll take it. Right, gonna get Kevin Owens versus Aleister Black. It's the greatest hat ever. Gonna get Xavier Woods versus Sheamus. Hat knows everything. Right, keep going. We are gonna get Sami Zayn, perfect, versus Zelina Vega. Probably don't do that. We're also gonna have Bobby Lashley taking on Lana. I mean, also, that's Lana pulling double duty. Nobody wants that. Big E versus Chad Gable. I mean, that would be a good match, but whatever. The Miz versus John Morrison. No, that's not going to happen, you stupid thing. Matt Riddle versus Braun Strowman, or Sugar. And finally, we have Keith Lee versus John Morrison again. Stupid thing. Although maybe one of those is right, and if it does, please do go in the comments and say, Simon, you are the greatest ever. No one ever says that. And we go, Simon, you're a piece of crap. Like, man, that really hurt my feelings. There you go, there are my predictions of Hell in a Cell 2020. Now get your ass down there in those comments for real and let me know your predictions and we can have a little bit of a chat. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to What Culture Wrestling, then head on over to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some articles, follow What Culture on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE and watch more videos here on What Culture Wrestling. My name is Simon from What Culture. Make sure you enjoy all the pay-per-views this weekend. You got Bound for Glory, obviously you got Hell in a Cell, and there's a UFC show. Khabib's gonna screw somebody up. Have a good time. I'll see you soon.